months ago.
New Caledonia?
New Caledonia. That was it. Oh,
New
are the mics hot?
I think we are.
Hot
All right.
mics.
Well, I don't want to.
Hot pants.
Don't want any more of a reveal.
I feel good. Ha! Sorry. Patrick's like, I don't want the job of being audio guy anymore. Rocky hurts my ears.
It's only gonna get worse.
Oh yes. Are we live on everything?
Stand by.
We're
all
holding.
spots to black.
Indeed.
I picked that up from a Reading Rainbow episode.
Reading Rainbow.
Well, he did this episode where they did a behind the scenes of a Kiss concert, like what all goes into making a rock concert, and so that there's this part where like they're behind the scenes in the concert, and the audio guy, the lighting guy is in the back there, and the band's up on stage, and he's in the booth, and he's like, stand by, all spots to black, stand by, before they do the some kind of a lighting effect, and it's stuck in my head because I'm like 5 years old,
Yeah.
How we doing, Adam?
Red 5, standing by.
Red 3, standing by.
Red leader standing by.
Matt says we're not on YouTube yet.
We're not on YouTube. We should probably go on YouTube. Come on, YouTube. Hurry up.
Okay, Matt says we're live everywhere now.
You
All right.
tube.
Very good.
You're such
Roll
a
it.
tube. The history of the Gallic lands is one of struggle, punctuated by moments of sheer brilliance.
Tartan is Scotland's gift to the world, and it is your personal heritage story. Hi, boys and girls. Welcome to Kilts and Culture. I'm Rocky. That's Eric.
Yate.
Indeed. Today, all kinds of treats. We're going crazy
This is
today.
weird. It's weird.
Okay.
It's
so,
May Madness.
It's it's gonna be May. I got to do the Justin Timberlake one too. All right. So we did our little intro to the show, our little thumbnail. We asked questions, and Eric decided to put some Star Wars costumes because it's the day before the 4th of May, and people were asking a lot of Star Wars questions. So that does not fall on deaf ears. We actually had too many freaking Star Wars questions, so we kind of globbed it
redacted
into one
thing.
big
Yeah.
ball. So we're going to do a little Star Wars fun kind of bit towards the beginning of the show. And also, there's going to be a new special tartan. Little something new, something old, intermingled, intertwined, together as one, in harmony.
But you got to wait for that.
Indeed. We'll do that a little
around.
later in the show, so stick around. And a very, very special treat.
Very unusual try today.
We are trying rum. Heiner Rivera, a friend of the show from Puerto Rico, actually visited in our shop and brought this rum with him, and we got to try it. I mean, this literally was hand delivered from Puerto Rico, and I think it's local to him.
Yeah.
It's an award-winning, rum. So
Yeah,
why not?
he's within walking distance of the distillery, if I remember what he was saying. So
Yeah. So, indeed. So we have Ron del Barrilito. Barrilito. I don't know.
Barrilito.
I don't speak Spanish, so I'm doing my best to get by.
Dos Estrellas, 2-star.
2-star. Yep, indeed.
It has
Indeed.
won awards apparently, but it's not their highest end. But
All right. So, there we go.
don't abuse the rum.
I may have used the rum.
See, now this is traditional because there were Scottish guys and Irish guys too in the British Navy, so there were some rummies, with their rum rations in the British Navy. So that's
Mac,
my story, and I'm sticking to it.
While you're here, what tartan do you have on there, Mr. Mac?
Oh, this would be Wallace Hunting Muted today.
Wallace Hunting
Very
Muted.
nice.
Very nice.
Very nice. Yeah. And I got Alaskan State Seal, just one of my favorites. I haven't worn it in a while.
Very good. And I have on the Nordic Heritage tartan.
Heritage.
Indeed.
Nordic Heritage.
All right. So, Mac, what do we have on the nose, on the palate, on the back? I don't know.
On the thing.
On the
On the
fingertips.
side.
Yeah, indeed.
So, all right. So for our tasting notes here, is a light medium body with a natural bronze color obtained in its aging process. Aromas of plums, almonds, apricot, and vanilla with a little smoky woody notes. caramelized fruit, sugar cane, and a long oak taste.
Long oak.
I get a little bit of the smoke to it. Get a little bit of the oak.
And I if we were drinking whiskey, I'd say there's a little bit of pepper, tiny bit of pepper. But
Yeah, and I get the apricot smell, like the apricot and almonds. You're putting the thoughts in my brain there.
yeah,
Mac.
the whole thing about sugarcane is ridiculous. Just having tasting notes because it's made from sugarcane.
Yeah.
It tastes like what it's made out of.
Yeah, it kind of reminds you just like brown sugar.
Yeah, because
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
how come you taste so good?
All right. A little sippy sip.
So now you're in my country.
Very, very, very sweet. Obviously. Has a bit of like burnt sugary metallic-y kind of taste to it. Like all squished together.
Which makes sense if it's a younger one, so it's not as refined as
Yeah,
As
they
it
said it
can
was
get,
aged 3 to 5 years.
which is it's okay.
A little bit of a bite, a little bit of an alcoholic kind of burn to
I'd
it.
say it's like for me, it's like a burnt wood, like just kind of comes in real hard there and then just goes away.
It's very short.
Yeah.
It's like usually you don't get much of a feel on the back of your tongue. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But
I
it is a nice rum though. I do like this. I've never had this one
It
before.
kind of reminds me of one of those, like not necessarily Werther's, but the candy we send out.
right.
Those butterscotch.
Butterscotches.
A burnt butterscotch.
Okay. All right.
Like
all
a
right.
smoky butterscotch.
Okay. I still, depending on what your definition of long is, I still have a little bit of lingering taste, metallic-ness in the back of my mouth, even now from a minute or two ago. So I'm getting a little bit longer finish on it than you are.
Maybe I wasn't drinking it right.
I'll try it again.
Using your nose to drink it. Yeah. Poured it into my ear. Didn't work.
But yeah, it is a little bit oaky, but it's got a very nice light vanilla overtone, which is typical for rum. The nose is lovely. I really like the nose.
Pouring water in it, a touch of water really changed it. Not
It's not
necessarily in
what we
a
usually
bad
do
way.
with rum, but,
I know, but
gotta try it.
I'm trying to be a little bit consistent in how I try things both ways. I get a little bit more of like the plum, like not real sweet fruit, but like a little bit of weird fruit flavor when I
Weird fruit.
I don't know how to describe it.
Is it the red fruits?
It's the green fruits. Yeah.
I get I think more of the caramel comes out for me with the water.
Yeah, the caramel and butterscotch. Yeah, But it cut down the bite to it. Interesting. All right.
Anyway,
Yeah.
I like it.
So Mac, what would you rate this? Scale of 1 to 10 on a rum scale. I don't know. I don't drink a lot of rum, so I'm not sure.
No,
what
we don't
rum
really
is.
do a
It's
lot
the first
of
rum
rums.
that we've done on the show.
In terms of just liking it, yes, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go 7-9.
Okay. It's a high score. High score. Good. Strong. Eric, you're more of a rum guy than I am.
I'm gonna
so.
go 6.8.
6.8. Okay.
I do
Okay.
like it.
Now, see, I could see this easily, and I don't know the cost of it. I don't know if this is sacrilegious what I'm about to say, but I could easily see this with a rum and coke or in a mixed drink or something like that. I like it. I would never drink rum straight. I don't know if people do drink rum straight.
You
but
just did.
on purpose outside of the scientific thing that is our try on the show. But overall, I'd say not bad.
I like
So
it.
did I give it a score?
No, you didn't.
7.3. Yeah.
Very good. Very good. Was it Heiner?
Heiner.
Yeah,
Heiner
so,
Rivera.
Heiner. So
Yeah.
muchas gracias, Heiner.
Indeed. Now, if only we had
Mucho
something
gusto.
else to
It's funny you mentioned mixing, Rocky.
mix the drinks with. Wait, what? Who?
Yes, because for once I now get to slide something into place. So check this out, and mine's bigger than yours.
That's what she said?
What can I get for you? All right, so because we're having rum on the show, and Rocky knows I'm into this crap, he's indulging me and letting me mix this as a cocktail. So we're going to have something called the Reef, which appeared in the Groglog, classic Tiki how-to book by Beach Bum Berry. Gentleman and a scholar. Now, I know this looks weird, but it does call for having an ice cube in the glass. So you each get your own ice cube. And I have everything pre-mixed here except for the rum, so just bear with me a second here. So we need to get 4 ounces in here. And then I'm going to flip the shaker around, like Tom Cruise style, so be careful. Watch out.
Long as it doesn't take too long.
I'm moving as fast as I can.
And don't hit the mics. Oh. Rum down.
Rum down. No. What's Spanish for soldier? Okay. I was gonna say soldaten muerto. Yeah. Okay. All right. Here we go. All right. Ready?
Ready as hell.
Okay. All right. So I'm moving as fast as I can. So. You know how long you shake a cocktail?
36 seconds.
36 seconds?
36.
Is that what you heard?
I just made it up, so.
It's supposed to be until you can't hold it anymore.
Okay.
So it just starts to feel cold in your hands. So.
Okay.
All right, Mac,
feels cold in your hands.
You'll need to come around and get this.
Ooh. So fancy, so fancy.
I am spilling a little bit, but that's why we have this steel cart here.
To absorb all the liquids.
Yeah. Well, I'm not in my natural environment. I'm not at home.
Can I have the big red one?
Well, yeah, you're the big kahuna here, so.
Nice.
So you're gonna get the big mug.
And Eric's going, and I'm gonna get the rest of the liquid.
Right. No, I'm trying to make it even. Never make drinks for people in multiples, by the way. You're never supposed to do that.
Or live on a show.
Or live on a show.
Yeah.
Yep. But you know, we get the Cantina band thing going because we're gonna do Star Wars stuff. So
limes.
Of course, it's not a proper drink.
Come on over, Mac.
With a garnish, right?
Indeed, indeed.
Okay.
All right, which one's for Mac?
Which one you want, Mac? This
go.
one's from
that one closer.
That one's from California.
All right.
Or no, that one's from Florida. This one's from Hawaii.
All right.
And that one is from Tiki Farm. So.
Okay. So. We're supposed to like
cheers.
Dump the lime in it. Oh, I love lime. Lime's good stuff.
You could, but I don't recommend doing that until after you've actually tried the thing.
Yeah, don't do what I just did.
You're gonna ruin the drink, so.
Too late.
Aloha.
Yeah, Slanja aloha.
The other thing I'm missing is straws. We didn't have straws in the building.
Yeah.
So my apologies on that.
We don't make a lot of cocktails in the building.
Do let it water down a tiny bit. It'll be more refreshing. Again, unusual. I'm not used to a drink where it says put an ice cube in the glass for serving, but just one ice cube is one ice cube exactly.
It's not bad. All right.
You can get used to this. Summer's coming.
Yeah, cold summer day or warm summer day. Just get done the lawn out there. I could easily see this. Just relaxing on the porch. Sun beating down. Little fake umbrella in there, Eric.
No umbrellas. He knows I hate paper umbrellas. So
yes. All right, Mac. Let's rate this one 1 to 10.
I'm gonna go 7-9 again. I like this.
It's a very, very simple recipe. This one.
So far, everything that Eric's mixed on the show so far has been great. So
okay.
This is like the third time I've mixed something.
At least the second one that I've had.
We did Irish coffee once, right?
Yeah, and I think you did old fashioned. Did you do old fashions?
I don't think I did old fashions on the show.
Or hot toddy.
Hot toddy.
Yeah. This is the first cold drink. First cold drink I've done on the show.
Okay. What do you give it? Rate your score. Rate yourself.
Before you rate yourself,
Exactly.
Probably 7.2. Basically, because it's a good flavor. It's brutally simple. It's just lime juice. It calls for triple sec, but I use Cointreau instead because I think triple sec's a little cloying. And passion fruit liqueur. That's what you got in here besides the rum.
See, if you
It's
did,
like a half an ounce of each.
if
for the
you did
recipe,
a little
so.
bit more triple sec, I think I would probably bump it up. If I'm gonna drink a cocktail, I would like it to be like orange juice, like sweet,
Super
fruity
sweet.
kinda- yeah.
See,
So
too much sweetness is usually a no-no in tiki culture.
I-
You want a balance.
Understood.
So,
I will say
it is tasty.
it's pretty damn good. I will give the volcano drink here.
It's called a reef. I forgot to give the title. It is called the reef.
That's the name of the drink. Okay.
Yes.
I will give this a 7.5. I liked it.
It's originally
Very
from the Reef Restaurant in Long Beach, California, circa 1962.
Very good.
In case you're
Good
wondering.
stuff.
So,
All right. Cheers.
cheers.
All right, boys and girls. Load in your questions down below. We are, as always, but your humble servants here to answer whatever questions you have about kilts and or cultural-related stuff. We're supposed to do
You're gonna
the
do
other
the Star
thing
Wars
first.
game first?
Yeah, we
Okay.
might as well do the Star Wars game thing first. All right.
Get this all over with.
All right. So many people asked us, since it's the day before Star Wars Day, the 4th of May.
May
and
the
or,
4th be with you, in case somebody does.
Yes,
somebody
and then
out there
the
doesn't know.
5th of May is Return of the 5th, for Return of the Sith, Revenge of the Sith. Anyway, so many people ask questions about Star Wars related topics. We decided to break out
Decide to gamify it.
the little helmet here. I can't flip it over because there's stuff inside.
A quick thank you to the principal people who asked the questions. This is the result of input from John Duvall, Phoenix Ferris, Anthony Lexar, Michaela Widman, and Jennifer Berry, and a few others. So, thank you.
Yes, thank you for making us do this. All right.
And we have a bunch of characters on slips of paper inside this Mandalorian helmet, which is from our coworker Rob's collection. He is a Star Wars fan and a cosplayer. Generously lent us this.
All right, so we have a bunch of these things in here. We'll have Mac go first. Mac, are you ready?
Sure.
All right, and I'm gonna pick 4, Mac. So your first one,
Okay.
Obi-Wan.
Obi-Wan. Okay. So
And we're picking what tartan the particular Star Wars character would wear. That's what we're trying to do. We think it would be
seems
good.
appropriate or
All right.
good.
okay.
So Obi-Wan.
So when I think of Obi-Wan, I think of lighter colors, tans.
Adam, can you bring him up on screen? There you go. There's
Hey,
little
there I
Obi-Wan.
am.
There he is.
I'm here now. Hi.
Coochie.
Well, and so is
Um,
Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
You just stuck your finger in
I
Obi-Wan's
know.
ear.
I did coochie.
Obi-Wan.
Yes.
I'm gonna go with the the one that I think you had sold to me, and then we sold it, and I ended up selling it off. The Isle of Man. The
Okay.
hunting.
That'd be a good one. Yeah. I can see Isle of Man for Obi-Wan. Nice. All right, Eric.
So we're not going to share our own
Nope.
conclusions?
We're going one,
Okay,
one,
at a
one,
time.
one.
All right.
It's luck of the draw.
Okay. I got Han Solo. And I've thought about this before.
Got to bring up Han Solo.
I am Han Solo. So I went to there he is, but you can't see the side of his pants. If you know, like his pants in the first movie have the red stripes. So I was gonna say District Tartan Angus,
Okay.
because he's got like the black and the blue, and those are both feel like colors in his costumes throughout the movies. And he got the red for the red stripes on his pants.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jabba the Hutt. All right.
I had one for that. I want to tell you mine, but go ahead.
See, I don't know the names. This is my problem with Jabba, is that I don't know the names of the tartans that I would want to pick. I would want to pick something from the House of Edgar's like Hebridean collection with the marled threads. I think that would be something good for Jabba. If you have one, you can.
You know what mine was?
Go.
Angel Share. Because I think the colors would be good. You got some golds and greens
Okay.
in there, and it's whiskey, and whiskey was associated with smuggling, and Jabba the Hutt is associated with smugglers.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Very good.
See?
So Angel
Thinking
Share.
outside
That
the
was my
box.
answer. All right, Mac. You are
ye be Jedi.
Jar Jar Binks.
Ah, Misa. Misa gets to pick this one, huh?
Misa's so happy.
So thinking about his kind of his color palette, I think he's probably up him up on the screen now.
Yeah.
There he is. So he's kind of like the brown, reddish color there. So I'm just thinking weathered, something weathered.
Okay.
So my instinct for him was Burnett weathered.
Brunette weathered.
Not
Okay.
weathered.
Okay. Very good.
I have ideas for all of these, but
Oh, of course we do.
because I'm a nerd. But I was going with the Jacobite for him because he's a force of chaos.
Yep, that works too.
And I've actually seen pre-production concept drawings of him, and he was much brighter colored.
Okay.
A fucking dinosaur out of Jurassic Park. He's like bright reds and greens and stuff. So I was like, okay. All right. So I got R2D2.
I was going to do that one.
You can probably guess which I'm trying to do for that. Yeah, no, I already know. So, you want to hear?
Sure.
Earthrise.
That's exactly the one I would have
No.
picked for it
No.
too.
No. You're both wrong. Napier.
That
Why?
was my second choice.
Because it's
Oh, okay.
it's blue and white. In Napier or
Yeah,
Hannay.
okay.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Okay. I liked Earthrise also because he's an astromech. He's designed to go outside ships, right?
Okay.
So, space.
We were on that. Well, actually, connected with you both on that one.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Stormtrooper. McFarlane, black and white. Easy
Any of the
one.
black and white
Yeah,
ones?
any of the black
I
ones.
did. I did
You
Menzies. I
have
was
to
thinking
do.
Menzies.
Yeah,
I was
Menzies.
thinking Scott,
Yeah,
so...
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Mac. You are Leia, Princess Leia.
All right, so this one, thinking
Ooh.
about it, and there's a lot. She wears a lot of white.
Which costume?
So
Yeah.
I was going off the white. Her hair is brown. Again, I'm thinking something dress weathered. So in this case, I went with, because she's also royalty. Stewart dress weathered. Yep.
Nice. Very good.
Oh,
Very
okay.
good one.
Okay.
Okay. I'll give you that one. That well played, Mac. Well played. All right.
Mine
Aaron.
wasn't as good. I had one for Leia, but it sounds good. It's getting stuck in the foam in here. Rob's body sweating inside the helmet here. All right. Padme.
Smells like Mandalorian.
Padme, a.k.a. Queen Amidala. I think every time you think of her, you think of the main costume that was in all the stills and stuff. The marketing one, it was the red and gold costume.
Yep,
So I
bright
would probably
gold colours.
do. I'd do German heritage for the red and the gold in
Okay.
that famous costume. And everybody always also thinks of the dress she has on in the scene where they're having their liaison in the second movie. And she's got the very pastel flowy gown.
Yeah.
So I would do lupus awareness, which is a tartan I mentioned in a TikTok recently.
So you're
'Cause
just
it's a-
doubling up on all
I
the
am.
tartans.
Because,
This is the
because
Eric
she's
Tartan
worth it.
show.
Sorry,
I'm just kidding.
but it's all these pastel colors in that, and it's like, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Nice. All right.
okay. And of course, our picture on the still store is the the Leia
Non
midriff.
one. Yeah. Okay. So I got Darth Vader. All right. See, I went to for Darth Vader. I went to the Force of an Anakin Skywalker / Darth Vader. So I'm going light and dark balanced. So for that one, I was going to say Menzies. Mine are boring because it's freaking. I'm getting the boring characters. Well, not boring, complex, but
The whole Star Wars palette is kind of drab.
it
Honestly.
is.
Yeah.
It is.
Except for
It is.
freaking Padme. So.
Yeah. So I could do, you could do something like Lindor or something, or like with like a lot of black in it. But I'm trying to think of it as the whole character, as an entire man, as a sentient
Right.
being. What would I pick
As a,
for Darth
as
Vader?
a burned husk.
Exactly. So for Anakin / Darth Vader, Menzies, aka Mingus. All right,
Okay.
Mac.
Okay.
You have Boba Fett. See,
Okay.
you gotta get the good ones.
Boba
Damn
Fett.
it.
Boba Fett.
Where?
All right.
So on this one, I was thinking of his what he's wearing, the uniform, the blue or the yellow, the green, the red.
Yep.
I was going Galloway hunting. Muted.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm picking up what you're putting
Muted.
down. I'm picking up what you're
Muted,
putting down.
not ancient?
No, muted.
Yeah.
It's got that kind of
Okay,
the
okay.
greenish.
Yeah, that green is
Yeah.
can be a little wonky of a
Wonky,
green.
huh?
Wonky, indeed.
Isn't that a monster from Star Wars? Wonky?
A wonky donkey.
It's the one you made the sporn out of.
Can't go through the valley. It's full of wonkies. Okay. All right.
All right. We promise it's not going to go on forever. We have one more round after this.
Luke Skywalker.
Luke
my
Skywalker.
main favorite character actually.
Okay.
And I've thought about this before. Was it? No, I had two thoughts. Yes, Thompson Hunting Modern. Because
Okay.
it's got brown for the one costume, black for the other costume, and it's got both a blue and a red.
Okay.
So you got both colors of lightsabers.
Okay. Very nice. Well done. Well done. Well done. All right.
We're getting a lot of cosplay orders.
Yes. I'm getting Yoda. All right. So for Yoda, I'm going to go with Scottish Odyssey, which is one that Loch Heron does. Similar to like the
wow.
Shrek tartan.
Okay.
It's got like a couple different shades of green and blue in there for the lightsaber. So Scottish Odyssey for Yoda. Indeed. Scottish Odyssey, I wear you. All right, Mac. Mace Windu.
So, I think I'm gonna go Hebridean Collection as well, and the Hermitage Falls.
Okay.
It's got some purple, a very light
There you
purple.
go.
It's got some brown, some black,
Yep.
some grays.
Okay. I was going to say it has to have purple in it. Mace Windu is the only.
Because-
Yep.
Because Samuel Jackson,
Samuel L. Jackson
insisted on
had to
having
have
a purple lightsaber.
purple lightsaber.
Right.
All right.
Right.
All right, you got two left.
Two.
One for you, one for me.
Okay.
You can look in
Do
and
we have an odd
grab
number?
one. Well,
Okay.
we started with Mac. It's all the way around.
I got Lando Calrissian.
Lando.
I'm looking at the picture on the screen.
Looks like stage curtains behind him there. Hey, that's very
Hey.
70s.
Does he have a Colt 45 in his hand too?
Oh man.
That's very like James Brown-esque
Such a
pose he's got
crime.
there.
What
I feel
happened-
good.
What happened to that guy's career as a crime? I'm sorry. I wanted to see him as Two-Face. That would have rocked. So anyway, Ramsey.
Ramsey? Okay.
It's blue and the gold for the principal costume colors.
That would be
or-
Oakley.
Oakley, yeah.
Or,
Yeah,
no,
Oakley. Ramsey is white, is blackened,
oh, okay.
blue with white, or red and blue, or red and black with white.
What about U.S. Navy?
Okay. No, U.S. Navy has the white stripes. You're thinking Air Force has
I
the
think Air
like
Force.
tannish,
Air Force.
goldish
There
kind
we
of
go.
color. Okay, I get you. I'm picking up what you're putting down, and he flies chips, including the Millennium Falcon.
And gambles and stuff. Yeah.
All right, last one, Darth Maul. It's got to be Glendor.
Yeah.
Glendor.
I mean, if you're not going to use that
it's
for
so
Vader,
freaking
then-
obvious. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Glendor for Darth Maul. All right, boys and girls. Thank you for joining us for our Star Wars segment. All right. I know the audio is horrible on that. I don't care.
Because we take this culture very seriously.
Exactly.
All right.
Had to be done.
We
All
gonna
right.
get real now?
Mac, why don't you? We're
Oh,
gonna
yeah,
go
let's
to
get
Mac.
Mac. Yeah, let's go to Mac. Good idea.
Yes.
Good idea.
All right, so
Yes, my lord.
seeing how we potentially had this problem, Waldo is
Where is he?
asking, when designing a custom weave, what is the longest back and forth you've gotten into with a mill regarding the colors of your design versus the colors they come up with?
With the mill or with the customer?
This is with the mill.
Yes. Where does he have a camera in Rocky's office?
We may or may not be releasing another tartan on the show today.
We may or may not have been recently traumatized.
I may or may not have been screaming daily at the mill.
Oh man.
Trying to get things done in a very, very rapid succession, with some challenges. The longest back and forth, it depends on if I pick up the phone and call them or if it's back and forth on a particular color. What we do is here in the shop, for any of the mills that we do custom weaves with, so Loch Heron, House of Edgar, Martin Mills, I actually have all of their stock supported yarn shades here. I beg and plead with them, please, please, please give me your yarns. So they actually send me the yarn shades. That way I can literally just go through their entire collection and say, okay, stock supported yarn shades. That's going to make it easier for you guys, easier for us. We can work within the color palette. And then I can pick from that. If a customer comes in and says, look, I really want this, this chartreuse, or I want this, bubblegum pink, or whatever the oddball color is. We can have it custom dyed to match a particular color. If you say, I need to match Pantone number, this, or here's a piece of cloth that already has this particular color in it. Like we have a pipe band right now looking for, I think it's Princeton pipe band. I forget what it is, but their school colors are orange and black. And they have an orange and black tartan that they physically gave us a yard of the cloth and said, here, match this. And it's freaking orange. It's like safety vest orange. So none of the mills are going to have that color. So we're going to have to either take a piece of it and send it over to the mill and have them custom dye to match the thing. Or we can get a Pantone shade that we think is close enough and have the mill do basically a sample dye, which they'll dye a few pieces of yarn, a few little hanks of yarn, send them to us. Then we send it to the customer and say, okay, is this close enough? Which of these three do you like the best? Do you need it darker? Do you need it changed? And kind of go back and forth. So what's the longest back and forth? Probably 2 months, but that will, or 2.5, 3 months maybe, but that also will include time for the dye house to actually dye cloth, get it to the mill to FedEx it to me to FedEx it to the customer to look at it, review it, and then come back to me and say, okay, I want you to change this thing. Then I go back to the mill, who goes back to the dye house. They change the thing, boom. So it's kind of a back and forth in that way. But there are time barriers. There's the actual dyeing of the thing, and working into the schedule of the dye house to actually dye the yarns. But once it's dialed in, that's it. They have the recipe. They know exactly what it needs to do on their end to get the colors where they need to get it to be able to get it to the mill. So order number 2, it's easy. It's just getting it tweaked and dialed in the first place. Now, for tartans that we design, 99 times out of 100, I am trying to work within the mill's color palettes with their stock supported yarns. Or, hey, I have, for American Dream, we went to Martin Mills to do our PV, and I said, look, we did it in wool. Here's the shades that we're using in wool. I need you to match these as close as you can in PV. And they had a couple that they said, look, this is one we custom did this one time. We can do it again if you need it. It's not one we stock support, but we can use, red 97626 as this third red color that you want in your tartan. Great. It's a bang on match. Go do that. Even though it's not part of their stock range, they can do things custom. They do have some odds and ends that, okay, well, we have a little bit of this left over. If you have a 200-meter run and it's a minor color in the tartan, we can use that one, and it'll help us use up some old unused yarns, and it matches your color palette, what you're going for. So
a little bit of luck.
Yeah, indeed.
So isn't it going to cost that band a lot because of that, though?
The custom dyes, it depends.
Okay.
Now, the particular, the Princeton or whatever it is band that we were talking about that's using orange and black, great colors, by the way, especially for hockey. Their tartan is 2 colors, and frankly, it's mostly orange. And on top of that,
the swatch, Ian had it.
Yeah. And on top of that, they're doing 150 meters. So if you're doing that much cloth, it's a major color in the tartan, then it's not really going to cost as much or anything for a custom dye, because
economy of scale.
Exactly. Yeah, now, if you say I'm wearing Nordic Heritage, so if you say the gold stripe in the middle of my tartan that is only 6 threads in a huge repeat. Yeah. I need this particular shade of orange. Well, I'm sorry, you have to dye 2 full kilos of yarn. Therefore, it's going to be and you're not using much of it. So you have to buy all of the yarn that is their minimum from the mill, and then include that in the cost of the tartan, which is an extra $200 for a short run. So it depends on how major of a color it is, how much cloth is being woven, and that kind of thing.
Gotcha.
But good thought, good question.
Okay. You're adding some new colors to our tartan designer, aren't you?
I am.
Mm-hmm. For those who like to play around with that tool on our website, Rocky has taken into account the fact that you
have done other things. I thought we were going back and forth.
Oh,
Sorry.
That...
No, there's a couple new shades that House of Edgar are the yarns we use on the website. We use a lot of House of Edgar shades because that's where we get most of our custom dye or custom runs of tartans done. Mm-hmm. And they came out with a few new shades, so I added those recently. And I actually have Jillian working on downstairs. They added a few new marled yarns, about 15 or so. So we're going to be adding some new marled. They're going to be flat colors on the website because our tech is kind of poor in this area, but it's going to say marled after it. So we're going to add some new colors of marled, what will be marled yarns on the website. It's going to look flat, but they'll end up being marled. So yeah, we're expanding the tartan designer a little bit to give people more options outside of here's the stock palette, here's your custom color wheel thing.
Yeah.
So,
and to my knowledge, nobody else is offering that. So go us, if I may say so.
Always.
So it's
Hooray
a fun
us.
tool as it is.
Yeah.
Go for it. My turn?
Yes. Go ahead.
All right. Okay. Noah Barnett asked us, what are your favorite non-standard jackets, vests, etc. to wear with the kilt? He says his personal favorite is a black sweater vest. I'm a sweater vest person. So yeah, non-standard jackets. He just had a vest for himself, but so let's say top layers.
Yeah.
Jackets and extra.
Non-standard. Well, what is standard? Is standard traditional, or is standard contemporary wear? Is standard, cosplay? Is standard historical effect? What is standard?
I don't know.
He didn't say. Who knows? I would say most of what we wear contemporarily, I could consider non-standard from a traditional, aspect. Well, you're wearing a standard Argyle vest in a non-standard way, open and kind of relaxed.
Open and chill.
Yeah. I'm wearing a polo shirt with a vest, which to a traditionalist who's looking at it from a, formal function only or tweed kind of outfit, this is non-standard. To me, this is every freaking day. I wear, a polo or a performance type shirt. Sherpa shirt. Exactly. Eric, carry my bags. So anyway.
Yes,
no,
my liege.
Don't. Yeah. Now I have Monty Python with the coconuts going through my head. And you're drinking Tiki drinks. So there you go. Coconuts. My brain just went all over the place on that.
It's been a long week.
Yes, indeed.
Okay,
it
so
has.
anyway.
All right. Non-standard. All right.
Yeah.
I would say non-standard jacket, an Ike jacket. It works well with a kilt.
That's what I was going to say.
Sorry.
Okay.
It works well with a kilt. It's shorter cut. I would say I have a couple cable knit sweaters that work well with a kilt. In the intro to the show, I'm wearing one of my, it's like a Joseph A. Banks sweater or something. It's nothing special, but it's a cable knit navy sweater. So I would say those two would be my top two picks for non-standard, obviously weather dependent. Summer, I would say a polo or something lighter and, seasonally appropriate.
Yeah, I think it's, no offense to you, Noah, but I feel like it's almost a false dichotomy. I mean, it isn't a binary thing. There's, you can wear any kind of a top layer with a kilt. Our rule of thumb is that if it's longer, it's not going to look as nice with a kilt as a shorter option. So sweater vests like you wear, I wear them all the freaking time. It's one of my favorite go-tos. So jackets, I would say the closest thing to something non-standard that I've worn that I like is classic biker jacket. Like the classic, rock and roll
Punk rock leather jacket.
double-breasted black leather with the zipper pockets and stuff. So that's not something you'd see somebody wearing on the Royal Mile per se, but it's but I think it looks pretty cool with a kilt. And if you close it, you've got the belt attachment, which looks pretty awesome. So that's probably the most non-standard. And you and I both wear M1 bomber jackets a lot too.
Yeah.
So
mine isn't a normal bomber. It's the one with a regular
A1.
collar. A1. Yeah. It's the. I wear it because my dad was in the Air Force.
Right.
I have his flight jacket, which is a bomber, but it has like the regular collar as opposed to the material, the knit material. Yeah. Any other like, let's say like dressy-ish jackets.
I was gonna say, yeah.
I don't really go outside if I'm getting dressed like dressed up a little bit. I would just do a standard tweed jacket and vest. If I'm really formal, I would do a regulation doublet and vest. I wouldn't do anything. I don't do like historically inspired type stuff normally.
Well, that's where we part company, partner.
Exactly.
Because you guys have heard this before, but I'm a big Sheriff Muir fan. I think Sheriff Muir is a lot of fun. And it's very much a vintage look. But I have seen people tinker with it a little bit in terms of like the neckwear. I mean, technically you're supposed to wear it with a jabot, but I've seen people use other ties with it and stuff. And I think it looks cool. I think it's fun. So yeah, that's probably the most non-standard thing I would wear.
It's still standard. It's just old style standard.
Exactly.
Versus,
Exactly.
Yeah, contemporary. Cool.
Yeah. Pretty
Cool.
much.
Cheers. All right, Mr. Mac, what do we got out there?
All right, so this one may lead us down to doing a little bit of research and coming back to this question at a later time.
Oh, great. More research.
Yes. Silver oilman, or oilman.
It's a tough job having to actually research.
I know. I hate my job.
Traditional
I
Scottish
really
fashion
hate
and
my
be paid
job,
for it.
everybody.
Thanks.
Wah.
But he says he's recently started model shipbuilding, and he's very much a novice model shipwright. But are there ships that are important to Scottish history that he could potentially build along his way?
Sure, I have two.
Oh? Okay.
Well, one. I'm realizing Edsel. I was gonna say Edsel is a base, right?
Yes.
Yeah, is it?
Yes.
Yeah. So Polaris
So Polaris submarine.
submarine, which is a submarine that was built in, or it was docked in Scotland,
Yeah.
I think. There's a Polaris Tartan.
Yeah.
It was
and
the first.
The Edsel base in Scotland was primarily a Polaris submarine base,
Yes.
if memory serves. I could be wrong.
Yeah, it was the U.S. Navy was over there, and they had a Polaris submarine, and they had designed a tartan for the Polaris submarine. And then at the base was Edsel, so that's the Edsel / New U.S. Navy tartan. Is a particular tartan. So those are my two for a ship. Do you have any thoughts?
I have to confess that Mac and I kind of talked about this a little bit earlier because he got to see the question before the show, like a couple minutes before we went live. So Mac, why don't you lead off with your answer? 'Cause I
Fast
thought it was
research.
cool.
We were. I don't remember. I don't remember the ship's name or anything like that. We were just
No, I
talking
know,
about.
but
We were talking about the settlement in New Caledonia down in South America, like trying to maybe research some of the ships that carried
yeah,
them to there.
Exactly. I think a merchant vessel from the 18th century would be a good one because of that, which is a tragic story. You know, and Mac told us about that several months ago when we did a haggis hunting episode. So anything from that, and again, you have all the immigration to the New World.
Yeah.
You know, especially after the 45, you have all these people who are transported. So cargo vessels of that time period had a very strong Scottish presence on board. It's hard to think of a ship that specifically is related to Scottish culture. My other idea would be do the Titanic, because the White Star Line's shipyards were in Scotland.
I thought it was Belfast. Titanic was built in Belfast,
I
Ireland.
thought it was. I think it was built in Scotland, and then went to Belfast for its trial run, and then
the rivets
to
were put in
Liverpool.
Belfast.
Okay.
I'm
I don't know what the hell I'm
98%
talking
positive.
about.
I am 98% positive. I may be wrong. I'm 98%
Mac's
positive.
gonna check
Yeah,
the Google right now.
Belfast.
Yeah.
That's-
Why was I thinking it was Scotland?
I don't know, but Matt is frantically typing from the other room.
Okay.
To me.
Well, I'm a moron. What do you want?
No. It's understood. You're not a moron. It's okay. It's all right, buddy. Buck up, little Skippy. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard for me. Oh wait, wonder if you get a model of those round. No, that's a Viking ship. I forget the name of it, but there was after the Vikings arrived in Britain, Clan Gun and other clans from the Isles retained use of a Viking-style ship. They had a smaller version of it. I can't remember the name of it now.
I can't either.
But you know what I'm talking
I know
about.
exactly what you're talking about.
But that was like their main
We talked about it when we were
go-to
doing this.
transporting between the Isles and the mainlands, both Ireland and Scottish mainland. And it was basically a miniaturized Viking ship. They just took the design, retained it because their ancestors had built them, and so I'd say a Viking ship would actually be a very Scottish thing to do. Now I think about it. What the hell is the name of that boat, though? I can't remember the name of the ship. Or boat. It
I
wasn't a
can't
ship,
either.
it was a boat.
We
Mac?
did get the names of the ships that went to New Caledonia. They were the
Perfect.
five ships were St. Andrew, Caledonia, Unicorn, Dolphin, and in Denver. I can't say that word right.
In
My
Denver?
Pennsylvania Dutch will not let me say that word. What was that?
I don't know. I don't know what you're saying.
ENDEAVO.
The Endeavor. Yeah.
Endeavor.
I can't say
Endeavor.
that right.
Yeah.
No matter how much I try, I can't say that right.
Endeavor. Yep.
Yeah, my Dutch won't let me go that far.
Spoiler alert, they died. Hey, cool.
Scurvy, boys and girls.
We should have guessed that there'd be the original ship names were out there somewhere. So, hey, we were helpful, and I didn't even know what the heck we were talking about.
It's half the show.
Did you know that if you get scurvy, all the scars of any wound you've ever had open up again?
Yep, I did know that. It's the most metal of citric acid-less diseases.
Brutal.
Indeed. All right.
Totally brutal. I want to build a model.
Let's sail on to the next question, Eric.
Just sail away.
Come sail away.
Come sail away. Come sail away. You ready, Patrick? Come sail away with me. You're welcome. Keep those headphones on, buddy.
See, I go to Black Sabbath. You know, it's the sign of the Southern Cross. It's the sign of the Southern Cross. Sail away. All right, so.
Why don't our sound guys want to work here anymore? It's really confusing.
Oh man. Okay. Scott Sanders, friend of the show, said, "Do marled yarns only come in black, gray, white colors, or can they be a variation such as reds and brown? Can they make variations marled?"
Yes. Yes, marled yarns can come in variations. However, basically what it boils down to is, are you wanting a particular marl of this shade and this shade, twisted together? Let's define marled yarns.
Yeah,
marled yarns are when you have a yarn to weave wool. It's basically two threads twisted together. Now, a marled yarn is a black and a white, or a dark red and a light red, or an orange and a red twisted together, which kind of gives a staticky, like television staticky slash marbleized marled effect, hence marled. So if we just got a whole shipment in of well, not a shipment, but a shipment of about 15 or so marled yarns that House of Edgar has as stock supported yarns. They are using a stock supported through their Hebridean collection, through their 1897623447 collection, whatever the year is. Yeah, hike. Thank you. Good call. They're using marled threads and marled yarns, which gives it a kind of scratchy, tweedy effect to a normal worsted wool. Those are their, they have come up with a range of things that they want to use, colors that they think are attractive, and they have used it across their entire design. So whether it's tartan A, tartan B, tartan Z, it doesn't matter. They're using this new weird and wonderful red, this new weird and gold broom, and sunflower, and whatever colors they want to make up names for. For those, great, sure, marled yarns, done, because they have it as stock supported. Now, if you say, I want this Pantone shade of red and this Pantone shade of blue twisted together to make a fun purple kind of color, it can be done for an exorbitant fee. So if you are, and you may never like how it comes out, if you are, Daddy Warbucks or Sawbucks, what's the guy's name? Warbucks, yeah. If you're Daddy Warbucks and you have billions of dollars sitting around just waiting to be spent, do I have a company for you, by the way? USAKilts.com. So if you have a ton of money and nothing to do with it, sure, it can be done. But the minimums to have two individual plies of yarn done and then spun together, and on the hopes, no pun intended with the crossed fingers, on the hopes that it will look good and you will be able to include it in your thing, then sure, go at it. But outside of that, it's one of those where it's not necessarily cost effective to be able to come up with a marled yarn as an individual. You are far, far, far better trying to work within the custom palette of one of the particular mills. Now, House of Edgar does about 15. Well, if you include the grays, about 20 or so colors of marled yarns. Loch Heron, I think, just as grays, and Martin Mills just as grays. So it's a newer thing within the industry to use marled yarns. So it's a fun new, I'll say, trend. Something I want to see continue because it's a really, really cool effect and makes the tartan cloth actually look very, very different. But the choices are very limited. Thoughts? Anything to add to my ramblings?
None. Except I think that marled thread is definitely a big trend right now. I have trouble seeing it going away anytime soon. But I would also be a little circumspect if you were designing a tartan. I would say try and design it without the marled thread first and make sure you love it without that special effect, and then consider adding in marled thread.
You said love it. That's not a marled thread.
His knee slapper is
This
very,
guy.
very funny.
Am I right?
Yeah, so I can't really address the marled thread in general, except for from a style standpoint, I'd say.
Yeah.
It's very cool, but
Chef's kiss.
yeah.
It's beautiful. It adds a whole different dimension to it. If you're used to if you remember back in the 80s, and I've seen a few of them recently, I think they're called stereograms, where you stare at a picture and it, like, a 3D effect comes out if you unfocus your eyes. It kind of almost has that effect to it, where it gives like a two-tier level look to a particular design. The Nordic Heritage that I'm wearing right now, we actually used marled grays in this design. So it's one of those where it really just adds a little something different,
Depth.
a twist on it, a depth. Thank you. That a lot of like regular normal flat tartans don't have. So it's 2D chess.
Yeah,
so to
it's
speak.
rustic.
Indeed.
Yeah, rustic. Yeah.
Indeed. Mac.
We did have a question come across. Somebody's asking if there's a marled gold or silver yarn.
There's actually a few marled gold tannish ones that are going to be coming out. Maybe even in a tartan in the moderate future. Not exact near future, but moderate future.
In the not too distant future.
Maybe
Next Sunday, AD.
Maybe September. Maybe September-ish.
Oh.
Little
that's
foreshadowing.
different.
Little foreshadowing. I did.
We're not tipping our hand about that yet, though.
I know nothing. I know nothing.
Okay.
Colonel Clink?
Okay. This is me.
Yep. Okay. All right. Hope that helps. Mac, give me another one.
All right, so we have Marty asking, how do we feel about modern knives in hose in lieu of skin dews?
Modern knives
touched
in
on this
hose
last month.
in lieu of skin dews. As long as they have a sheath that's not going to come off, I'm fine with it. Frankly speaking, if I'm wearing, I'm not a big fan of skin dews. They have a tradition, they have a place in formal wear. But if I'm going to carry a blade, I would rather it be a functional blade. I use a lot of thumb flip or finger flip kind of blades. So if I'm going to carry one, it'll either be on the belt, potentially in the sporran, because it's going to be a flip action. It's not going to be just a standard, hard fixed blade.
Fixed blade.
Yeah, fixed blade. Now, if you have a fixed blade and the scabbard of the blade won't come off, or it's easy to
Right.
it's easy to get back in, or it should come out with the knife. I'll put it that way.
Okay.
If I don't want to just try to angle it and aim it towards my leg and end up bleeding in my kilt hose. Thoughts?
I don't have any problem with it in principle. I think that skin dews are designed to look good in a kilt hoe. They've, as we've said before, most of them, unless you're a knife person or a knife guy and collects the really cool stuff, they are mostly show, not for blow. So, they're meant to look good sticking out of your sock, and therefore the proportions are good for that, and they tend to be fairly flat, so they're comfortable to wear. Knives I prefer for a practical standpoint. I would never wear down a sock. Just wouldn't work. But a modern, more artsy knife, possibly. I mean, it really depends on what it looks like. I have no problem with it in general, except that just again, it's the context thing. Are you going to wear it when you're going out to this wedding you've been invited to? Maybe not. Stick with something which is designed to look good with a formal outfit. If you want just for blow as opposed to show, and you're wearing it as a daily, yeah, you could do it.
Yeah, a lot of
Not
guys.
that big a deal.
A lot of guys in the store downstairs will wear it either on their belt or on the hip strap on their kilt. They'll actually have a knife with a belt little loop on it and wear it there. So
Spring.
it's yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the belt spring.
Yeah, it's easier to actually access.
None of them are as cool as Jillian with the Leatherman tool on her chatelaine, though. Major props. Young lady with a honkin' knife. She's
Jillian
pretty
is
BA in her own
cool.
delicate,
pretty cool,
gentle way.
young lady. Yes, indeed. Cool. Hope that helps.
Cheers.
All right.
My
It's
turn.
about midterm or mid-section of the show.
A little early, but yeah, okay.
No, because it's 3 minutes. It's 3 minutes slow. It's like 56 right now.
We really should fix that clock.
I know. We have a clock right down there.
Okay.
Sorry, guys. All right. We're cheating. All right. Kilt Ambassador, go.
And raised immigrant. Rick studied history in college and graduated with a teaching degree. However, a lack of jobs led him to a rather different career path. That is, deputy sheriff at the county jail, a post he has held for the past 16 years, in fact. He's also a wood badge holding Boy Scout leader and a master mason in the Freemasons. Rick's heritage is mostly German, with a dash of Polish. His interest in Scotland and Scottish history began over 25 years ago. That's when he got into reenacting with a focus on the French and Indian War. He says, I first became interested in historical interpretation during a trip to Old Fort Niagara and Fort George, Canada, as a child. I thought the costumed interpreters were the coolest thing I ever saw. I didn't know anything about it. I didn't know that people did it as a hobby or as a lifestyle. Then, in August of 1997, Rick attended a local French and Indian War event, and it was all downhill from there. Since then, he's done French and Indian War, Pontiac's Uprising, Revolutionary War, and the 18th century fur trade. Rick's very first impression was as a member of Rogers Rangers, a unit that had many Scots and Scots-Irish in the ranks. His first DIY piece of headgear, by the way, was a Scots bonnet. Rick's most lasting impression has been a Scot serving in the British Army, a light infantryman in the British 55th Regiment of Foot. So representing these men really piqued Rick's interest in Scottish culture and history. Around 2013, with the help of some friends, Rick began slowly assembling the kit to interpret a Highlander serving in a light infantry company in a Highland regiment. He debuted that impression in 2019 at Fort de Chartres. But what could Rick do next to explore this stuff? Well, you guessed it already, Jacobites. He says, my latest impression as a Jacobite Highlander in the 45 Jacobite Uprising was completely unintentional. I was invited to join a Jacobite group on Facebook. At the time, I had no real understanding of the Jacobite movement or the uprisings. But of course, he dove in, and the results are amazing, if I may say so myself. Shortly after this, Rick's fiancée suggested a vacation to Scotland, and that's when Rick's passion really got fired up. He now owns several great kilts, has visited Scotland twice, and is the proud owner of an ever-expanding library of Scottish history books. He's even learning Scots Gaelic. He says, I have one regular kilt. I enjoyed wearing it in Scotland. I wear a kilt for scouts, Masonic Lodge meetings, hiking, and of course reenactments. But compared to modern stuff, I actually really prefer my 18th century attire. Can't say I blame him. By the way, Rick has also gotten his son into reenacting, which I personally feel is very cool. So, Rick is a prime example of someone who has found kilts and Gaelic culture purely through education, as opposed to growing up with it the way some people have. As he says, I am still proud of my German heritage, but I would firmly state that I am Scottish in my heart and have a deep love for Scotland. I was already planning my next 2 visits to Scotland before I even left Scotland on my last trip. And that's what it's about, right? So, hey, if you live in the Midwest and are interested in this history, you can chat with Rick about it via the KNC Facebook group. He is actively organizing a group for Jacobite Rising reenactors and history buffs who live in the region. So, Rick, keep it up. Thank you so much for sharing your amazing impressions with us and for showing people what this history really looked like. Hey, Rick.
Slunge.
Slunge.
Yeah.
in all seriousness, I close that by saying keep up the good work and keep showing people what this stuff really looked like, and that is what living history is all about. I mean, on a personal level, it's about feeling it, and then if you're lucky, you get that time travel effect, where it's like for a few seconds you're not actually in the 21st century, which is an amazing feeling. But for the sake of the public, it is about the fact that you put in a lifetime of your own personal time and hobby time and research to make this kit right, and it's especially gratifying when kids get to see this and it's like, no, this is not Hollywood, this is not a caricature, this is actually what it was like.
I kind of think of it like a musician. You're not that you're paying for a reenactor necessarily, but it's it's all the amount of work that goes into it behind it to get to where you are. In the same way that when you hire a musician, you're not paying for their hour, you're paying for their hour plus the years and years and years of practice and time they put into crafting.
Or any artist,
yes,
I might say.
Fair.
But so I envy you the time and the focus, Rick.
And I raise a glass to you.
Give it up. Cheers.
Cheers. Now, what I am curious about, I love a lot of his different tartans and materials that he's using, and I love how like tweedy and earthy they kind of look, and it got me thinking. I love the Nordic Heritage tartan, and I love the marled yarn that we used in it. But what if we're gonna go Marvel comic series? What if there was a tweed version of Nordic Heritage? And what if it wasn't the normal colors? No. It was a weathered color palette. What would that look like? Hold on, let me have a thought bubble appear on screen as I look to the side and think. Are they putting it on screen yet? No.
We're waiting for the queuing up the music now.
Put the image on screen. Yeah. Oh, it's beautiful.
It's tiny.
Indeed,
Can
it's
you make
tiny.
it full screen for a second?
Just one second.
Adam's like, no, this is the photo I uploaded. So,
there we go. Woo!
So yes, we have played around with, and are going to unleash upon the world the Nordic Heritage weathered tweed tartan. Indeed. So, indeed, tweed. Now, essentially, here's the actual backstory.
I feel the need for tweed.
So, I have a Stuart Hunting weathered tweed tartan, and I love this, and I wanted to do something else similar to this. I wanted more of this type of thing to exist in the world. We have our Nordic Heritage tartan, which I love. So I contacted the mill and said, hey, make this look like that, but with these colors, but with this pattern, but with this material tweed. So throw that over there. Yes, available now. Nordic Heritage tweed, weathered tweed, reverse those tartans. We actually have it on the website already.
Yep.
If you just search for the word Nordic on the website, you'll see
both will come up.
both will come up. So just pick it there.
Yep.
But yeah, that's something we're doing a pre-order for. I don't think I'll say this. I'll never say never. It's one that I am probably going to do as a custom. Once it's gone, it's gone. If everyone and their mother freaking loves it, and there's another round of people a year from now that really need it, sure, I might stock support it. But for now, I'm considering it a limited edition. We did a survey a couple months ago.
Yeah.
And we asked people on the show, hey, go take this survey. Tell us about what types of things you want to see. And one of the things that people really dug into more than I thought were tweed tartans. So tweed tartans, I wanted to see more of in general. I think they're freaking cool, especially with the marled yarns and the tweedy looks to things, the more earthy, natural vibe that a lot of people seem to be into. So I wanted at least one more tweed tartan to exist. What better tartan than the freaking Nordic Heritage? So yeah, it's a thing. It's a thing. Make it a thing. It's now a thing.
The freaking Nordic Heritage.
Indeed.
So how long does this pre-order last, Rocky?
We're taking orders for 1 month. So essentially,
Starting now.
Now through end of June plus the weekends. It's like June 2nd, whatever it comes out to, is when we'll take pre-orders through, and then we're putting the order in with the mill and off to the races. So,
TikTok.
indeed, if you want yours, get in now. Yeah, it's pretty freaking awesome. This is one that I am honestly like overly excited about existing. I just want it to exist. It's I have the luxury of having like weird ideas that I can just say like, hey, this should be a thing. Let's make this go. And making it a thing. So, yep, this is a kind of a representation. Where's my finger? There it is. Kind of a representation as best we can get of what it's going to look like. So, Nordic Heritage Tweed, do your worst. Now, question of the day.
This is hard.
It is.
Damn, that's
it's backwards.
hard.
Yeah, indeed.
Okay.
Question of the day for the show. Thank you. It's already on there. I'll just read it. What tartan would you like to see in tweed? So, outside of Nordic Heritage, obvious answer, freaking best. What other tartans would you like to see as a tweed tartan, a tweetin, if you will? And we're gonna, we're gonna ask these questions, or we're gonna ask this question. We'll go over it. Max, start accumulating. Matt, if you're out there listening, start accumulating some answers. What tartans you want to see in tweed, and we'll go over a few of these at the end of the show. Mac.
There is a quick question here. Someone is asking, Zombie Caddy is asking, how is the stiffness of this wool versus on the tweed?
Question.
Yeah.
Versus what we
it's
typically
tweed.
would
Is
have.
it softer?
It's a little bit softer. It's a little bit floppier. It's not.
It's like a 16-ounce tweed, though, right?
Yeah, it's a reasonably heavy weight. I would say it's probably 15 ounce.
15.
It's a little. It's thicker. There's a little bit more nap to tweed than there is to like a hard finished cloth, like the kilts that we're wearing.
Yeah.
So it's a tiny bit, and don't let this scare you. It's a tiny bit spongier than a normal kilt cloth. And it's a little bit heavier than 13 ounce. It's not as heavy as 16 if you physically like weigh it out.
Okay.
But it's a touch thicker. It's a touch warmer, as tweed tends to be than a worsted cloth.
Okay.
So I hope that helps.
It's a good question.
Clarify a bit. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I love the kilt. That's now on the floor, shown by me throwing it on the floor, of course. No, I love I love tweed kilts. I love tweed tartan. I love the material that one is, which is what got me so excited about doing this project. So it's going to be freaking cool. All right, Mac. Whose question is it next? Yours or Eric's?
I believe your guys.
All right, Eric, it's your turn.
Okay. Sue Becker 9972 asked, how often have you come across weaving mistakes like you experienced during the Oops-a-Latchin story? Oops-a-Latchin, might need a little backstory on this to
How often do the mills
mess up?
Yeah. Let's say mess.
Quick recap of what happened with Appalachian folklore.
Yes. So Appalachian, we had like 2 runs essentially back to back. The first run came in, was good, and the second run, apparently the mill split into 2 parts. And the part of the second run that came in, they all landed essentially at the same time. But the mill screwed up, and when they pulled, one of the threads one section of threads for the design, they chose charcoal versus, they chose the wrong color. So essentially it was the tartan wasn't exactly what I ordered. So, to the mill's credit, they ate it, gave us a discount. We passed the discount on to the people, moved the cloth, everyone's happy. Cool, done. Win, win, win. But the question is, how often do the mills screw up? And it's a weird one, because some screw ups become bog standard. Some screw ups become canon. They become part of the story. So, thinking back through historical examples that I can, kind of come up with off the top of my head, the short answer is not often. Thank God.
Right.
My job would be some of the mill's job
problem.
would be a lot more difficult if I'm screaming at them all the freaking time. So the 3 examples jump to my mind. One was, and I won't shame the mill. I should, but I won't shame the mill. McGregor hunting. Max back there shaking his head. Yup, he knows exactly what I'm talking about. One of the mills, the warp threads and the warp threads and the weft threads for McGregor hunting. They have, it has green in it, and they used bottle green one direction and a lighter green the other direction. So the warp threads and the warp and weft greens didn't match, so it looked a little vertical stripy, if I remember correctly. And we got a piece of it for a customer. I called up the mill and like, this isn't right. There's a problem. I'm not passing this on to the customer. Took a photo of it, sent it to the mill, and they said, okay, well, yeah, sorry about that. We'll just credit you for it. And they, gave it to us. And we ordered it from a different mill. So that's one that the mill screwed up, and it ended up just eating the cloth. Two other examples. One was the historical example. Again, now this one, don't hold me 100% on. This is my theory. I'm reasonably sure it's a good theory, but I'm not 100%. Is the Buchanan tartan. Buchanan is an asymmetrical design, and there's it has certain colors. Asymmetrical meaning it goes ABC, ABC, ABC versus ABCBA, ABCBA, back and forth. So it's asymmetrical. Now there's a Buchanan Old, which is an actual symmetrical version of the regular Buchanan tartan. So my theory is, and I'm not 100%, again, fact check me, I am not perfect. My theory is that it was somewhere along the line, a mill screwed up and used the Buchanan Old and, didn't, reverse the order as they went to the next thing, and did an asymmetrical version of Buchanan, and it just kind of became the standard design. That may or may not be true. Do not quote me on that. I will deny it, even though there's now video evidence. So there's that one. Now, the other, I would say, most famous, unfamous, no one really knows about, but we've exposed the story. Ha! We're TMZ, digging in the dirt. Not really. Is the Flower of Scotland tartan. Bill Whelan from the House of Edgar, he was from the House of Edgar, was there when the Flower of Scotland tartan was born. Essentially what happened was the mill went to weave the gun tartan. Was it gun, Mac? It's Flower of Scotland. Yeah, it's gun. But they screwed up. They reversed two of the colors. And they wove a good chunk of this cloth. They reversed the blue and the green. And they got done and were like, cool. Hey, we're done with this run of gun. And then they looked at it and went, that's not gun. Whoops. Oh. Well, we have a couple 100 meters of it. Let's call it something else. What should we call it? Passed around to different people in the mill. What should we call it? I don't know. Flower of Scotland. Let's call it Flower of Scotland. And they realized, that's actually a copyrighted song by the Corys. Let's call the Corys. Let's see if they let us do something with it. So they contacted the Corys, said, hey, we designed a tartan. We want to call it Flower of Scotland. Is that cool? And the Corys, being an awesome freaking band, said, yeah, a tartan for our freaking song. Why not? So, yes. And that's how that's the short version, paraphrased, of how the Flower of Scotland tartan was born. So those are the examples that I can think of off the top of my head where a mill screwed up. And sometimes it's just, whoops, we screwed up. Yeah, okay, fine. We got to eat it. We got to do something with it to get rid of it.
Yeah.
Or, they just say, yeah, it should just become its own thing because it's still a good looking design.
I think it's like that. If it's a subtle mistake, it's a mistake. If it's an obvious mistake that makes the design distinct, then it's more likely it can become a happy accident.
If it's a major mistake, then you just make a lot of money off it and call it Flower of Scotland.
Right, so it was gun originally?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So,
Mac, can you think of any examples?
Any other ones?
Yeah, any other ones? You were kind of nodding around with the ones that I was giving.
Yeah, I mean, those are the ones that I thought of right away. And the other thing, that comes to mind is sometimes when we get, especially in PV, I'd say it's more tends to happen a lot more in that but that's also dictated occasionally
by the person who's ordering the original.
So, like we've gotten Thompson Gray in. The last 3 times we got in, set size has changed 3 different times. So but that could be dictated by the last time they wove it, this school needed this, so it changed that way. But that's where I see the majority of any change is in that aspect.
Yeah. Luckily, there's not a whole lot of variation. Now, there can be some, and it can kind of morph into something new and fun and different. But the mills want to be consistent. They want to be commercially viable and consistent across their designs and across time. They don't want things like a color variation to change from X to Y to Z. So the color that La Caron used on Thompson Blue in 1992, they want it to look the same now as it did back then because they want consistency across time. The mills, actually, we have photo examples of this, where the mills will take, dye number 1 of this particular shade of blue and tie it to a card, and they will dye they will take a little piece from each individual dye subsequent to that and tie it to the card to make sure that they can compare it back to the master, to the original, and make sure that it is consistent over time, and they're not varying not just off the last shade, but off the original shade. They want to make sure that over time that all of their designs are consistent, so that a pipe band or a school or a company or whatever, or their original swatch books will look the same 10 years from now as it did 20 years ago. You want to give the customers what they are expecting, and if you change things and do things differently, it's you can create problems that way.
Yeah, Keith gave us a good rundown on that and how they have the master dye sample at the mill when Keith from La Caron Mill was here a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Indeed.
Yep.
So, ultimately, they don't screw up often. When they do screw up, they typically own it, and it's not really a problem. And luckily they're all good people at the mills, and it's not like it's not a bad example of customer service where it's, you go in and you're like, hey, here's the thing. It wasn't what you said it was going to be. So sorry, so sad. You own it now. I'm so sorry. No, we're not doing anything. Like they're not that. They're very, very good. They're very, very accommodating. And if somebody screws up, you put your hand up, you own it, and you say, yep, we screwed up. Sorry, we're going to fix it on the next one. We're going to fix it now. Right. Here it is. We're going to fix it for you right now. So cool.
And you never see the mistakes that we see.
Oh,
the buck has to stop with us because otherwise we're the one who the customer calls if there's a problem with their tartan. So
yeah, with Appalachian folklore, I had that split second, and I will say split second thought in my head of it was such a minor thing, but it was one of those like I saw it, and when I saw it, I couldn't unsee it. And okay. Well, do we just the split second thought was, okay, there's a screw up. Do we just say it's close enough for government work? And the immediate answer was no. I can't unsee it. I can't pass this on in good conscience and say, yep, this is the thing. This is what it's supposed to be. We're good to go now. Don't ask questions. So it's one of those where we are, like you said, we are where the buck stops. If we pass it, we are saying this is correct. Go. And if it's not correct, it's not correct. You can't pass it on, because where does it stop then? And if someone's going to call us out, and it becomes a whole thing. So I'd rather, with our eye for detail between Mac, between the kilt makers that are over there, I would rather look at it and go, nope, it's not right. Let's fix it. Let's do it right. Let's make it right now, before the customer has to find it and come back and complain about it. I'd rather find it first than get called out on trying to let's sneak this through and see if anyone notices. So that's why we have to be perfect, because it's our name on the line for this stuff. It's the mills as well, but it's more ours. If we didn't see it, you guys would be like, but this isn't right. Why? There's something off. Why did you guys let this go? So nope. If it ain't right, don't let it go. Sorry, rambling. All right, Mac.
When did the mills become Edna from The Incredibles? That accent was along those lines.
That's okay. I was starting to filk a song.
Okay.
Like, oh, flower of Scotland, how did we screw up gun again? Da, 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 da.
Indeed. I fought the dye house and they screwed up their colors. And then the weaver. All right, I'm going to stop. Matt, give me another one.
Alrighty, so we have Stray Cat asking, do you think there is a shift in the complexity of tartan designs? For example, Appalachian, or just to annoy Jillian, Appalachian tartan is much more complex in line work and how the colors play with one another versus older designs.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, very definitely.
Now, the traveling back in time, the original clan tartans were higher contrast, for lack of a better term, for the most part.
That's a good way to put it.
And they were a bit blockier, especially the Sobieski Stewart designs. I'm going to that well.
Uh-huh.
The Sobieski
That's
Stewarts.
fine.
Drinking game.
It's appropriate. Yeah. Every time Rocky mentions Sobieski's, okay.
So the Sobieski Stewart designs are very, very blocky. They're very simple. And there's not a lot of complexity or nuance to them. They're beautiful in their own right for the fact that they are historical now and that they are official. Over time, you've seen evolutions in design, in meaning, in colors used, in complexity, in multiples of the same color, like 2 shades of blue, 2 shades of green. So there's been a whole lot more artistry within it. You know, like when you look at, Picasso versus, Banksy. They're very, very different artists, but there's beauty in both. Or you look at, Leonardo da Vinci. Like there's all kinds of different, things, or Munch. There's different styles and different periods of art. Think of tartan in the same way. There's different styles and periods and beauty within each style and within each period. So we are entering. If I'm going to go really, really highbrow on this, we have entered a newer period of tartan where there's much more complexity, there's much more nuance, there's much more symbolism kind of, put into it, or can be put into it. Now, the ability's always been there, but people are thinking of it on a deeper level. It's not just the simplistic version of, this is my clan tartan, therefore it's the one I'm going to get. Or this is the version of my clan tartan I like, therefore it's the one I want to get. It's this concept has meaning to me. It strikes a chord. It's something I want to, express outwardly as a bit of my fashion. Mm-hmm. Whether it's, Angel's Share, whether it's Appalachian folklore, whether it's American Dream, whether it's, there's all kinds of fun, aspects to this that have yet to be explored. There's a whole world of tartan out there that has not yet been touched upon or explored thoroughly enough. And I think you're going to see a trend of people and or companies doing a lot of fun, different things around concepts, around designs, around playing with the waviness of it, gradient scales, playing with colors in a different way, not just red, green, blue, kind of scale. It's going to be whole different things.
Yep.
There's a whole new world, boys and girls. Eric.
Hi. Yeah, I think technology has something to do with it. It's easier to design something like that and not lose the forest for the trees, so to say. Designing on software makes it a lot easier. Looms can handle it, whereas back in olden times, much more limited. And I think there's a boredom factor. People just want something that feels more today and just feels different. It's just boredom with what came before sometimes. I do think that more people design with a meaning or symbolism in mind first, which is not something that is historically seen. It's just like, oh, you like that tartan? Okay, that's now the official clan tartan just because I like orange. But the nowadays there's all kinds of playing with thread counts and colors and shifts and everything to build that into it. And I think the concept and the symbolism leads the design more than ever before. Goes without saying. I mean, when we designed, I say we, but it was basically Emma and Jillian, designed Appalachian folklore, they specifically wanted something that looked a little dark and forbidding and spooky because their inspiration was some of the dark storytelling of the actual Appalachian Mountains and the people who live there.
The folklore.
So the folklore. So that informed their thinking, and that resulted in the gradients they used. So yeah, I mean, it's only going to get more complicated, I think, honestly. And then at some point, somebody will be like, "This is just, I want something bold and simple and straightforward," and then they'll come up with something simple. But there's
Rob Roy Gold.
Right, but there's room for it all, is the point.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and as long as we can preserve the records and you can weave it, you can make it. So,
Yep.
yeah, absolutely, it's more complex, and it's a great thing.
Yeah, and I would even say it's complex not only in symbolism and meaning and thread count, the numbers and or the colors meaning something. There's also the marled yarns that we touched on earlier. There's the, do you want to do it in tweed versus worsted cloth? There's, people are playing with it in different ways and on different levels. That it's, you know, it's
right.
I won't say the sky's the limit, because there are certain limitations to the thing. But you know, even in as much as I, you know, don't like warp and weft being different, even the Welsh tartans having the warp and weft thread counts being different from each other, that's another way to play with it and make things different within it. So yeah, there's a lot of room left. There's a lot of road left to travel in tartan design. So I'm curious what comes out in the next few years. Maybe from certain companies. Named USA Kilts.
When you said entering a new era, my brain immediately went to Highland wear with marled tones. Do 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 do.
See, I thought you were going to go ska. I thought you were going to go,
No.
This is a dawning of a new era. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Little specials.
No, I was going danger zone. But
Okay.
Marled tones.
Okay.
Get it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah. Okay.
Cheers.
Thank you for the question.
Yes. We need to end every question on a ska note. All right, Eric.
And you got to do a tartan called Isle of Ska. Really? That got you?
It almost got me.
Noah Barnett asked us if we have any favorite Burns Night memories. Totally different vibe now.
Any favorite
personal.
Burns Night memories?
Burns Night memories or moments?
You know, Uncle Angus, he got a little tipsy.
That's just normal, right? I don't know.
Damn, Angus. My I don't have a ton of Burns Night memories. I would say the one that probably sticks out the most is one of the first Burns Nights I had was when Kelly and I went to Scotland. I think it was the first time, maybe been the second time. So back in like the early 2000s, like, well, not early, but 2008, 9 time for 7, 8, 9, somewhere in there. I don't know. Picture this.
One of those single digit.
Young Rocky, not gray hair, actual darker hair in the beard, a little bit more hair up top. When we went over to Scotland for a trade show over in January, and Kelly and I went to a friend of ours over in Glasgow. We were staying in Glasgow, or just outside Glasgow, and we went to our friend Andy and Andrew and Nicola. We went over to their house and had a little bit of a burn supper. It wasn't anything like any extravagant gala, but it was a little burn supper in Scotland. There was more whiskey than there was poetry. But it was a fun little evening with friends trying Scottish cuisine in Scotland, a traditional-esque way, with just a good, wholesome, at-home, fun thing. It was a good experience with friends. And ultimately, that's what it's about. There is pomp and circumstance. There is, the address to the haggis. There is poetry readings. There is the whiskey. There's the whole thing that surrounds it or can surround it. But to me, the one that, stuck out was doing it with friends in their home, in a foreign country to us. And the fact that they opened their doors to us and were like, hey, let's do a thing. That's cool. You're here during Burn Supper. Let's do it. And show you, Scottish hospitality.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the one that gets me in the feels.
That's
Eric.
Cool. It's funny you mention it without kids, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Everything is better with
no, I just no. You see, that's the thing because I find it ironic because my favorite memory, and I think about it, is like it always been just kind of informal for fun kind of a thing, and then not long after I started working here, I caught wind of the fact that they did one down at Sly Fox, which is a local brew pub, and I decided I'm going to go and I'm going to take my kids with me. So that was the first time that they had actually heard Celtic music live. And it was also the first time that my son tried haggis. So that was fantastic. I really enjoyed seeing it through their eyes. You know, the way kids just make things special that way. So it was just like, seeing my daughter like with the music and my son stealing my food, that actually kind of made it memorable. It had nothing to do with the proceedings exactly, but that was cool. It was very, very low key. It's a bar kind of burn.
I don't know about low key. It was pretty packed in there generally.
Oh, but you know what I mean. As opposed to everyone's wearing a Prince Charlie kind of burn supper.
Yeah, Celtic Spirit. Terry Algier.
Yes.
Is that? Yep.
Yes.
Friend of ours.
Yep.
Nice guy. That was a good. Yeah, I've been to the Sly Fox one. I
Yeah,
don't know
they're
if
fun.
I was at that particular one.
That one you were not, but there have been other ones that you had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now it's. I agree. It's fun, parentally speaking.
Yeah.
To watch the kids start enjoying the stuff that you were into. So I will say getting them involved younger, where they don't know any better, where they're forced to enjoy the culture that you're putting in front of them, and maybe they don't understand exactly what's in haggis.
Yeah, but it was perfect for them because I wouldn't take them to a formal supper. They'd be bored.
Yeah,
it might have been disruptive. It would have been less fun for me, So, but this was like. Perfect.
How old were they when you brought them?
Oh man, 10 and 7, I guess.
Okay, so what we're saying is, if you have a 10-year-old, 7-year-old, take them to the bar. Get them exposed to bar culture early.
Nah, it's not like a bar. It's a brew pub restaurant.
I know.
Come on.
I know.
You gotta wait till they're 12 to take them to a bar.
Exactly, at least 12.
Yeah.
That's when they get their first shot. No, but it's no. In fairness, Sly Fox's brew pub is a cool little place, and it's an entire thing.
Yeah.
With the band there, with the food there, it's a whole experience.
It is a people's burn supper.
Yes.
As opposed to a highfalutin burn supper.
Yes.
Both are good, but
Indeed.
Mac, anything?
Not really. I mean,
nope. Right. Moving along then.
No, probably the one. Sly Fox. I've been to one or two of theirs, but the other one was, we've had them at War II events.
Ooh.
Where we've done it more of a.
I didn't know that.
Of a frontline type thing. I've only been
cool.
with maybe one or two of those. So, it's just something a little different atmosphere.
Wow.
Completely with
Burns night in a bunker.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Wow. World War II or World War One?
We've done it both, War One and War II. So we've done it when we used to have our events at 14 Town Gap before we weren't allowed to have anything there anymore.
Yep, I remember you talking about that.
They did it there too. So
nice.
That's cool. Mm-hmm. What did you use for the haggis? Was it canned haggis or?
The one we actually had,
like, was it like a ration?
One
haggis?
actually we had haggis, and then the other one was kind of a, using your rations together to make it look like something.
That's what I was imagining. It's like, we're gonna call this haggis for tonight. It's actually this, this corned beef hash and this thing from over here, and don't ask what that is. But
now I was picturing
that's cool.
Canned haggis and using like the little military, can opener type thing to go around it.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed.
Mm-hmm. Were they issued haggis? No, I'm serious.
That I don't know.
Standard 100%. Military issue haggis.
No, it sounds like you would have special holiday foods if they could get it to you. Different things. I mean, like you get a little bit, pudding for Christmas. Things like that. So I'm wondering if they ever issued
I'm just
haggis.
thinking.
I would
MRE haggis. It's just you put a little water in there, you pull a tab, and it heats up.
I would imagine
delicious.
An officer's mess would probably have it more so.
Right. If you know out there about period rations and ethnic food mixed in with the rations, let us know.
I just want to have
I'm
MRE
really curious
haggis
about
now.
that.
I want to go to an Army Navy store and get an MRE haggis. All right, Mac.
Alrighty, so we have Carl asking, if you could design a tartan for any individual, living or dead, who would you do, and what colors would you do?
Oh my gosh.
Living or dead?
Living or dead. Design a tartan for anyone.
Individual.
Individual.
Do we want it to be somebody
Not a person, place, or thing.
Celtic, Gallic, or anybody?
Jesus. No, design tartans for Jesus.
I have that.
Let's
Don't forget.
let's do Celtic Gallic / of the Isles.
Okay. Of the Isles.
Meaning, British Isles.
I think I might have one.
Okay. I have one. Just because I would want to see what they came up with. I would want to design a tartan. It's an event / person.
Okay.
I would want to see a tartan design for the visit of King George.
Okay.
What Sir Walter Scott would have come up with as a tartan design. If you're going to market,
question.
I know. Thank you. I'm taking that as a compliment.
And as a writer, do a visual art thing.
As a writer, as a marketer, I want to see what Sir Walter Scott would have designed as a tartan with Wilson's Bannockburn for the King George visit to Scotland. Was it 1822?
Yeah. I think so.
What they would have come up with as, think of it like as the Commonwealth Games tartan for an event, but of, this for the visit of the king to Scotland in that time period. Because we have marketing type tartans now. We have new tartans now, but back then it was less so. They were just like the clan tartans, or they were expected to turn out in the things that they already had. What would have been the big, celebrate this big event tartan back in 1822?
I think it would have been bright. I think it would have been
Oh, I agree. It
bright
would
as
have been
hell.
bright. Yeah.
Yeah, it would have been really in your face.
I think it would have been purple for royal.
Some purple in it. Yeah,
Yeah.
very possibly, very possibly. Or he might lean into the blue thing for the saltire. Wow, that's a
But
really
color
good.
palette of the day, I feel like it would be really like jewel tone, bright, bam, kind of in your face
Okay.
type
Okay.
things.
Okay. Interesting.
Mac, I'm going to come to you on this too. I'm curious. To yours.
I want to hear Mac's idea first before I give mine.
Read as Eric doesn't know yet. He's still
No,
thinking.
I have it, but I don't want to.
So-
I'm worried you're going to think of the same person.
Before you put limitations on this, I already was going down a different path.
Okay.
Okay.
So I was using a Dominion. I was using Canada, and I was using
that's cool.
Lieutenant Colonel John McCrae, who wrote In Flanders Fields.
Okay.
So I was going that direction
You
with
win.
this, which I may or may not have started tinkering around with this a little bit ago.
Dude.
So that's where I was going, was something along those lines, incorporating what he saw in his memoirs and that type of stuff.
Dude.
Okay.
That
Interesting.
is a great idea.
Interesting.
Now you better finish it before somebody out there gets the
Yeah, I
idea
know.
before we can produce it. If you want to consider purchasing the tartan that Mac just described,
Because we have
Let's
nothing
now.
else going
we
on.
have nothing
in the
else
next-
going on. Oh, it's a
next
cool,
several years.
It's a cool freaking idea.
It is a cool idea, but we're doing too many cool ideas.
Well, okay, we'll try this one on. Mine is
Okay.
also military.
Okay.
I would want to do a tartan for Mad Jack Churchill. And you know how we were just talking about how like marled threads are really cool? I want to have a marled gray for the German uniforms for all the guys that he fucked up. I want to have the brown olive khaki color of the British battle blouse.
Okay.
See, you get both
Yep.
sides, both armies, and some nice, some dark greens, because most of the stuff most of the actions he was in were in like Italy and Eastern Europe and stuff. So, not Eastern Europe, but like up in Austria. I think it was when he got captured. But anyway, and then red for blood, because the guy went into battle with a freaking claymore, okay, and a freaking bow. So
He's
know,
pretty badass.
he was a total badass, and that's what I want. So I want to do a tartan for Mad Jack
Okay.
that looks kind of gritty,
Yeah.
very World War
Yeah.
II and very gritty and use those marled threads in there.
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah.
Good.
Concept.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
You're very peaceful compared to Mac and me today. Very chill. It's the rum.
This isn't rum anymore.
I know.
The outwardly, I'm peaceful. Inwardly, not so much.
Boy, that's the truth. I've heard you on the phone.
Indeed. All right.
That was fun.
Yes,
we should
it was.
do more of that.
Cheers. Absolutely.
If you have somebody you'd want us to design a tartan for, tell us in the comments.
Yeah.
That's
All
a
right.
fun. That's a fun exercise. We could totally do that next show.
Yeah. All right, Eric.
Yes, sir. Let's talk fashion a little bit.
You know what makes me more and more peaceful? Whiskey. Always really peaceful with whiskey.
Right, that
Yeah.
works perfectly. Your doctor prescribes whiskey.
Drink your whiskey, kids.
Do you suffer from tension headaches? Michaela
Do
Woodman.
you suffer from kids? Drink whiskey. All right.
Ask your doctor if whiskey is right for you.
Spoiler alert, it is.
Totally off the rails. That's our Easter egg, all that. Okay. Michaela Woodman asked, when wearing a necktie with a kilt, how far down should the tie come? Is it different than if you're wearing like a Saxon suit? And similarly, a while back, Edward Montgomery had asked us, on a scale of 1 to 10, how stupid does it look to tuck a tie into the waistband of a kilt? Is there a better option? So, ties.
Ties.
What do we think about ties?
What's the deal with neckties?
What's the deal with neckties?
A kilt is worn much higher than you wear your pants. It's obviously worn above your belly button.
Yep.
So a necktie needs to be done a little bit shorter to, in my estimation, to meet the top of the kilt. I don't like when, you don't want, especially if you're not wearing a vest, you don't want the necktie to kind of cover up the belt buckle. It would look a bit dumb. So when I tie a necktie for wearing with the kilt, I will tie it a bit short. I'll start with a longer short end, than I normally would if I'm wearing pants because it's worn higher. So, which will also, generally speaking, result in a slightly bigger knot. I want the top of my tie when it's tied to meet the top of the kilt. I don't want it to really go down beyond that. I want it to meet right about here. If I'm wearing a vest, I don't want it to show below the bottom V notch at the bottom of the vest.
Right.
And I don't want to have to tuck it in. That said, if I tie a tie and it's a little bit long, do you tuck it in to the back of the kilt? For me, no. Undo the tie and redo the freaking tie.
Yes.
If I'm wearing a vest
Preach.
and I'm in a hurry, then maybe tuck it in, but it's gonna come untucked. So
Yeah.
I would rather just
Yeah.
redo it and have it end a little bit shorter. Basically as soon as you're done that, just pull off the knot and pull the short end down a little bit more. Short end for me is on this side, and then redo it. Boom, done.
Yep.
Eric.
Yep. Oh, you basically said it, but to add some nuance for you, if I may, one of Pelham's maxims is that one should never rush at the hour of the toilet. Now, I know you snicker because you don't know what the fuck I'm
No,
saying.
because I take my time on
Good.
the toilet. You have a phone in there, you're good. And a good 45 minutes to hour and a half.
This is why we can't
TikTok
have nice things.
videos, no, you got to take your time in the bathroom. It's peace, it's quiet. There's no kids.
Before it meant your thunder bucket, Rocky, the term toilet or toilet
Thunder bucket.
referred to, you never heard that?
No,
referred
I've
to the
never heard
time
thunder
when you're
bucket.
getting dressed and washing, okay? You Philistine.
You're the one who said thunder bucket.
After I was forced to by you snickering and making the
forced.
obvious
Yes.
14-year-old joke.
I said thunder bucket out of back of Eric's head.
No. Yeah. It's on
Thunder
tape.
bucket.
It's on video. It's on.
Thunder bucket.
So
All right.
anyway. One of
The
Pelham-
rest of those people back there, by the way, all snickering and laughing right now.
I give up. Forget. I'm not gonna make any more
Thunder
comments.
bucket. Yes.
I'm not gonna say anything. I'm
Day of
done.
the World Boy.
I'm out. I'm out.
If this was Pee Wee's Playhouse,
Peace.
Thunder bucket. Ah, like everything would go crazy right now. Thunder bucket. All right, you broke me with Thunder bucket. You had me at Thunder bucket, Eric.
Yep.
Go ahead.
No, I don't want to now.
Too late. You're on the show. I'm paying you. You're on the clock.
I think that everything that Rocky Rager said is fantastic, and I have nothing more to add to this commentary on this topic.
I agree.
But I actually frickin' do. So,
Nuance.
all the
you were
BS,
saying.
all the BS aside, just tie your tie again. I don't care whether it's a kilt or a modern suit. If your tie is too long, you look like a freaking clown. You're making it a clown tie. Likewise, if it's too short. There's an art that takes patience to tying a tie. Now, what Rocky was saying about sometimes he'll wind up doing a thicker knot or result in a thicker knot. If he's doing the tie shorter, makes perfect sense, especially if you're using a traditional wool tie, which has been a very standard part of Highland dress for a long time now. You have to expect the knot to be a little thicker, and the tie in general is bulkier. So this is also why we sometimes recommend a spread collar shirt as opposed to a point collar. Now, the other thing is, a tie is a useless accessory. I love them, but the tie is basically a cloth necklace. It doesn't serve any purpose with modern clothing. You don't need it to hold a cravat close or anything like that. So at least do it right. I think that, yes, grazing or just above the top of the kilt makes sense. I definitely recommend using a tie bar or a tie tack, basically to keep the tie in place because it's less likely to flop around, especially if it's shorter now. But honestly, for my money, I would much rather wear the tie with a waistcoat. Have a vest, a waistcoat, sweater vest. I don't like ties just flopping around like that. Not with Highland dress, at least. Yeah, I mean, seriously. Now, Saxon suits, something else again. But for Highland dress, I really think a waistcoat makes sense. And then you get the color separation between the color of the tie and the tartan of the kilt, which just makes it look better. And it's more uniform, and you don't have to worry about looking like a slob. It just looks more together. It looks more traditional, and it's a nice pop of color and hides a multitude of sins, shall we say. So I think waistcoats and ties are meant to go together, or sweaters.
I'm going to add some. I agree 100%. I'm going to add some nuance to yours. One, when you're tying the tie shorter, as we were discussing, you feel like it's a clown tie. Because it's shorter than you ever worn a tie.
You might, yes.
You literally are like wearing it really, really short and wide, and it's just like, this looks weird. When you put on your vest, you're hiding it. It looks fine. You don't want it to peek out the bottom like peekaboo. You don't want that. So wearing the tie like a clown tie makes sense, so that it doesn't look dumb later.
But it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be so short that it looks clownish. Even if you know how to do a couple different knot designs, you can take out the bulk gracefully, and it's not going to be that bad.
Yep.
And Mac and I might be a little bit biased. I mean, I've worn pre-modern fashions. I have a number of ties from the 1930s and 40s, and so I'm used to shorter ties because the fashion back then was for a shorter tie.
Yep.
But
ultimately,
it doesn't
the point
bother
is,
me, but is all I'm saying.
Yeah, but ultimately the point is it's hidden by the vest when you button your vest. Not like this,
Yeah.
but if it was buttoned,
Yeah, no, I'm
it's
not.
going to be fine.
dressed
No one's going to
properly
see the
at
bottom
all,
of it.
but-
You're good.
Yeah.
Your point about wing collar shirts, bang on. A pointed collar or a collar where it comes more like this doesn't look as good, but a wider spread collar will look great with a thicker knot,
Yes.
which is, ultimately where you're going to
That's the idea.
Going to go with
so
it.
learn how to do a full Windsor tie.
And
you'll be good.
Yeah, the other, either Windsor or full Windsor or half Windsor, either of
They're
those
both
is
good.
fine.
Yeah.
Exactly. Just not less of a four in hand with a
Yeah,
with
four
a
in
kilt.
hand is the.
It's the easy one every kid learns. The point I will bring up about the tie bar is you thought of something. And I'm like, yes, exactly. What I found was when I started wearing, especially tweed vests, something that's a little bit scratchier fabric,
gonna say.
not a soft like Barathea or like a slick kind of surface. And especially when they have a lapel on it, the back of the vest has a little bit of tweed fabric there as well. So when you're wearing a necktie, the tweed lapels on the vest grab the necktie and it kind of like shifts off to the side a little bit. So I've taken to wearing a tie bar just below the bottom part, the V notch on the vest, where just below that, underneath the vest, you don't see it, but it's serving an actual function of holding the tie dead center on your body. Because I remember watching old videos of myself where I'm wearing a necktie with a tweed vest. And as you're moving around and kind of shifting and talking, use your arms like some of us do as we talk on camera. The necktie ends up like over here, and it looks dumb.
Yep.
So if you wear a tie bar dead center, holds it right where it needs to be, it's God's gift to neckties with vests.
Yeah,
with lapels.
and the problem is worse with a traditional wool tie because you got the nap of the vest, the nap of the wool on the vest, catching the nap of the wool on the tie, and it's more likely to grab. Silk, it'll still do it. It's not quite as bad. But yeah. No.
Hope that helps.
Now the clear answer to all this is just wear a bolo tie.
Say there was people in the comments making bow ties and changing the
bow tie fine, bolo tie.
I don't always like a bow tie with a kilt. I think I
don't like it. I never like a bolo tie with a kilt though. I know you have. I will throw up on myself.
It's because you're an Eastern city boy. That's your problem.
Yes, they call me good old Rocky Eastern city boy Rager.
You're a dude. That's your problem. You're a dude.
I'm a dude.
You're a dude.
I'm the dude. No. I don't trick white Russians. All right, Mac.
Anyway.
So
no, that's the dude.
I know. That's what I said.
There's only one.
That's what I said.
Dude.
The dude.
So are we going to a question, or do we want to go over the answers to your question?
We'll go one more question, then we'll go over the question of the day.
Okay.
Answers. Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Just wanted to see how far you want to go here.
Yep.
Thank you, Mac.
I will push it to the limit.
Okay. So
I feel like there's an 80s montage in here somewhere. Push it to the limit. Okay.
There is. All right. So we'll go with this one.
70s.
Gary is asking, and it sounds like Gary's under a little predicament here.
Uh-oh.
He's like, what is your choice in men's underwear with wearing a kilt?
Oh.
Yes.
Do you go silky? Do you go lacy? What?
Victoria's Secret all the way.
The answer is yes.
Yeah,
you do you, Gary. Yes, boxers, boxer briefs with the pouch thing for the junk. Whatever you want to do. How about it? Or nothing. Under a kilt, it is your domain. I am not treading into your domain. Sorry to disappoint. But it's one of those where there's no right or wrong answer. There's the answer that you want. The only answer I would give is probably to your comment earlier, not lacy, not doily. You don't want, like little things like accidentally poking out the lace. Depending on how big the holes in the lace are. I'm sorry, I'm getting graphic-esque. Sorry, Mac. So,
yes, we are civilized, cultured people here,
yes,
clearly.
Indeed, quite, yes.
Rocky Rager is a total gentleman. No, I think
for my wife, I'm a gentleman, for the record. Yeah, so
because she deserves it.
It's personal preference.
Yeah. I would say it's personal preference. I personally prefer boxer briefs in black because if you accidentally do wind up flashing something, you're not seeing your striped boxers or your tighty whities or whatever the frick. So shadow is your friend. So I prefer black because just in case something happens, then you're still not obvious. But personal comfort is a big thing.
Here's a point I will make. When you sit with your knees together. Don't sit with the legs spread and the kilt open like that. No one preserve some mystery.
But you're supposed to separate your apron out so you can sit like that properly.
Yeah,
and you press
put
the
your
sporran.
freaking hand down.
Yeah, that's what the sporran's for.
I understand, but don't sit with knees spread. Don't show a little bit of modesty. No one. Here's the ultimate. Here's the ultimate answer of what do you wear under your kilt. A, whatever the hell you want. B, no one else should know aside from your significant other. Period. Don't show me what you're wearing under the kilt, intentional or not. Have a bit of friggin' modesty. As guys, we are not used to wearing a skirt. I get it. It's fine. The only thing you have to keep in mind is when you sit down, put your freaking hand in the middle and close your freaking legs. That's it. It's my rant. That's it.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Yeah. I mean, you got
No particular person in mind here.
You're not calling anybody we know out
No.
specifically at all.
Not any. Not anyone named Chris who used
Or-
to eat lunch here. I'm saying Chris specifically.
Okay,
Not
okay.
anyone named Chris who
Okay.
used to work here, who used to eat lunch, freaking turning sideways to everyone and showing everything off. It's like, dude, just please stop.
Well, that was so he could catch the crumbs, from his sandwich. He was just being tidy. It's like using it for a napkin,
sardines.
right? Yeah.
yes, sardines.
Oh, the fucking sardines. Excuse my language.
Who the hell eats a can of sardines for lunch? Seriously.
For all you know, he's like one of our biggest fans out there. He's
No.
actually Stray Cat,
No,
Stray Cat
no.
69.
Not after the way we ended him.
So anyway, we ended him.
We ended him. Finish him.
Sorry, Chris. Thanks for working here. We appreciate your time.
Insert. Hold on. Insert. Mortal Kombat. Freaking Scorpion editing. Get over here.
So yeah, to Rocky's point, you can separate the two layers of your apron a little bit, let the sporran fall down between your legs. There's what we've called in the past the delicate art of man spreading. It's like not too little, not too much, but there is a good there's a good zone where you can look together and graceful and not flash anybody. So
And Eric's porridge was just right.
yes. Don't ask me where I keep my porridge. So
All right, boys and girls, we are going to go over
let's hear it.
the so far answers to the question of the day.
Mm-hmm.
So the question of the day was put on screen down here, so I can read it again. Adam,
He's working. He's going.
go quicker. What tartan would you like to see woven in tweed? And why is the correct answer Nordic Heritage Weathered? Available now at usakilts.com. Mac.
So we let off. The first response was German heritage. Followed by
Red
Yeah.
tweeds.
Yeah.
Red tweeds are a tough one to do, though.
Are they?
It really? Oh yeah. There's a lot of bad reds in tweeds.
I will say that a lot of the comments involved red.
But it's like there's so many.
It's okay. The people out there are okay to be wrong, Mac.
Okay, but there's some red tweed vests, like from
What I'm saying is it's tough to get right.
yeah.
Red as a bulk color.
Because it's like
Yeah, it's a
And
tough
if
one.
you're marling it, what do you marl it with without it turning purple or orangey?
Yeah, as a
I can
main
see what you're
color.
saying.
It's as an accent color. I love red in tweed. It's tough for the main
It can
color
wind
to
up
get
looking
it
kind of
to get it right.
Yeah, it can wind up
Yeah.
looking plummy or
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
or pink.
Give them to me anyway.
Your next one, American Dream.
Okay.
okay.
Okay. I see it. I see it.
Next one, one of your favorites, Commonwealth Games.
Which one?
Do you people hate me?
Which Commonwealth
Why?
games though?
It just was Commonwealth Games. That's all it said.
Oh, this.
Okay. I like the recent one, the big one that Siobhan what's her face designed, the one that they did at Lacombe.
All right. Here it is. Next company, picnic / customer appreciation party. I'm fighting every one of you who said Commonwealth Games Tartan. It's going to be content. We'll put it
Good
on TikTok.
content.
It's gonna
Yeah,
be fun. Yep,
good content.
Yep. That's loose threads.
All right,
content.
any more?
All right.
Oh yeah, we got more.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh,
some more.
there's more.
McDuck.
Could you get past the copyright?
Why do
No,
you people
Probably not. Yeah.
hate me?
McDonald of the Isle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay. I
yes.
can see it. That one I can see.
Jillian will be cheering. Appalachian.
It
Practically
already
tweed
has
already,
so much.
dude.
Exactly. Oh.
Yeah.
This one is surprised me. St. Andrews.
Okay.
Okay.
I could see St. Andrews.
I'm
I
not
like the
hating that.
two-tone blue.
Yeah.
I'm not hating that idea. I got it.
What about clergy?
McLaren weathered.
Who?
McLaren.
McLaren. Okay.
Yeah.
Weather McLaren. All right. I got it.
Isle of Skye.
Ooh.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes.
Ooh, I like the Isle of Skye idea.
Mm-hmm.
Now that
That's a
would
good
take
one.
some. That would
That's a
take
good
some
one.
doings
Yep.
with a mill that has permissions to do the Isle of Skye. But I could see that. I like that idea.
Celtic Nations muted.
Hold on. Pause. Back up. Isle of Skye, woven in Harris tweed on the Isle of Skye.
Ooh.
Just adding a new level there.
Oof.
Wow. That's like the collector's edition. There. Yeah.
Layers upon layers upon layers.
Yeah.
That is the turducken.
The turducken of tartan.
Mac?
Okay.
So we had Celtic Nations Muted was
Okay.
added in there.
Okay.
Aurelia.
It's a very particular... They have a very particular set of skills for that particular green in Relia. But yes, I could see it. Okay.
I think the guy who designed Aurelia passed away.
No, I thought he passed away, which is why we did it. And then I found out he was alive because they said, what the hell are you doing? And I
Okay, so the
begged
problem is don't
forgiveness.
stop asking for Aurelia as much as
Yeah.
I love it. Apparently he doesn't want
Yes.
anybody to have it again. So sorry.
All right, keep loading.
Macintosh Hunting.
Okay.
Okay.
McDonald of Sleet.
Okay.
And we have Weathered Kennedy just came in as well.
Weather Kennedy, that pink.
Yep.
That pink is something.
It's going to be...
That's gonna be a pink.
Would you consider Lindsay?
It's got so much red. It's the same problem
I
as like
know.
American Dream and them. Is it's got finding the right red for a tweed.
I
is
think you got
tough.
a mission. I think you've been given a mission for your sins.
The first mission, should I choose to accept it, which I do, is Nordic Heritage Weathered Tweed. Available now at usakilts.com for a limited time. Possible.
1 month. So are we done? Are we
All right.
done or we keep going?
That was... And
That was
Duncan
first
just
choice.
came in as well.
Duncan.
Okay.
Duncan is simplistic, but
Yep.
could
Simple
add some
but simple could be helpful.
add some complexity with the weather with the tweets.
Yeah.
Indeed. All right, boys and girls, good answers. Good
That
answers.
was fun.
Keep them coming. I want to know what other tartans would you like to see woven in tweed
We should do that again. I like that. I like that way of using the question for fun.
for fodder. Yes,
well, no, it's
indeed.
just like it's a conversation.
I agree.
I like it.
I agree.
It's cool.
All right. Thank you, boys and girls, for tuning in. Until next time, Slanjava.
Sanjava.